All right. Okay. So this is a revision class or program for circles. Okay. So I'm going to tell in a quick manner, not as extensively as I told first. It may be extensive, but not as detailed derivations and proofs like that. Okay. First of all, circle. Okay. Here we are not mentioned what is there on the screen. What is the definition of the circle? Circle is locus of a point which is at a constant distance from a fixed point. Okay. There is a fixed point, and let us say on a plane you can take point A. Okay. There are a lot of points on the same plane at a distance phi. Okay. If you join all of them, whatever you get, that is called circle. That fixed point is called center of the circle, and that fixed length, the distance between the given fixed point and the variable point is called radius. If it is a three-dimensional one, saying that there's a fixed point in the space and they want locus of a point at a constant distance from the fixed point, that would have been sphere. But in a plane, it is a circle. Okay. Very simple, obvious circle is if it takes center 0, 0 and radius r. So we have a circle. I'm not writing anything on the board. I'll just write on the screen whenever necessary. Okay, there is a circle with center 0, 0 and radius r. Then if you take any other point on the circle as x, y and use distance formula and equate it to r, finally you will get x square plus y square is equal to r. So x square plus y square equal to r square is the fundamental equation of a circle or basic equation of a circle where center is origin and radius is r. What if center is not origin? If center is some h comma k and the radius is r. Again, take any point as x comma y on the locus. The distance between these two x comma y and h comma k. Okay, if you use, you'll get exactly this one. So this is the equation of circle with center h comma k and radius r x minus x whole square plus y minus x r square. Many questions are there in the beginning where you have to, whenever you need a circle, just think about two things: how to find center of the circle and how to find radius of the circle, and then you'll be able to find equation of the circle. Now, when you expand this circle equation, you will get x squared term, y squared term, some x term. I'm going to write it as something to x. We'll get some y term, which is something to y. Here some h square plus k square minus r square. The whole thing is some constant equal to 0. So any circle equation will be in this form: x square plus y square plus something into x, some real number into y plus some real number equal to 0. Of course, you can multiply 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. Okay. But every time x square, y square coefficients are equal. If you multiply 2, you will get 2x square plus 2y square coefficients are 2. Okay. We all know both in intermediate first year and second year, or these 2 years, JEE Mains or advanced preparation, especially in coordinate geometry, we are going to deal with this equation: ax square plus 2zxy plus by square. Here it is there, right? Okay. This equation is a second degree non-homogeneous equation. It will cover pair of straight lines. It will cover circle, parabola, ellipse, hyperbola. It also represents nothing. It may represent a single point, which can be considered as a point circle also. Okay. It can represent all these 6 things: pair of straight lines, circle, parabola, ellipse, hyperbola, nothing. You can even call a single point, so total 7 things. But when it will represent a circle, what is the condition? Is that just now we are seeing, if you take the general circle, x square, y square coefficient should be equal. So a equal to b. That is one condition, and they should not be 0. If a and b are 0, then x square term will not be there, y square term will not be there. And a circle will never get xy term. If you look at general circle, x minus x whole square plus y minus x whole square r square, there is no xy term. Because there is no xy term, that coefficient should be 0. That is, it should be 0. Okay, but this is not good enough. It is not that simply a and b are equal and h is 0, it will represent a circle. Sometimes it may represent nothing. Okay, so we have to see that what happens. So we understood that ax square, xy term is not there, and then ay square, then 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0. Xy coefficient will be 0, x square, y square coefficient will be 0. This is not good enough. Okay. We have to see when it represents circle. So first of all, we'll take the simple form and then come back. The general equation of a circle is x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0. I want to make it into perfect square so that I can compare with x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equal to r square. That is the equation of a circle with the center h comma k and the radius r. So x square plus 2gx I will take, y square plus 2fy I will take, equal to minus. To make this into perfect square, I'll add g square on both sides. So x square plus 2gx plus g square. And you can add f square on both sides. F square plus 2fy plus f square equal to g square plus f square minus. So this is going to be x plus g whole square. This is going to be y plus f whole square equal to g square plus f square minus c. This is x minus minus g whole square. This is y minus minus f whole square equal to square root of g square plus f square minus c. Now everything is fine. We can compare this and this. When I compare this and this, in the place of h minus g is there, in the place of k minus f is there. So now we can say for this circle, the center is minus g comma minus h. And if it is negative, then this is positive, something whole square. A real number whole square is greater than equal to 0. This is greater than equal to 0. This also should be greater than equal to 0. So this equation is not that always it represents circle, only when it is greater than equal to 0. So one of the conditions for this to represent a circle is g square plus h square minus c should be greater than equal to 0. Whenever it is negative, no real number or no x comma y, no point in xy plane satisfies this equation. So this equation represents nothing. And the radius, this r square, if we compare, that radius is equal to root over g square plus h square minus. So when center and radius are given, how to find circle equation is this formula. And circle equation is given, how to find center and radius, this is the formula. Minus g comma minus f and root g square plus h square minus. What if x square, y square coefficients are not 1, some other things, but they're equal? What if you have ax square plus ay square plus 2bx plus 2fy plus equal to 0? Divide with a, you get x square plus y square plus 2 times g by a into x, 2 times f by a into y plus c by a equal to 0. Now if you take properly perfect square, it is going to come x plus g by a whole square, y plus f by a whole square equal to minus c by a plus g square by a square plus f square by a square. That is x minus minus g by a whole square, y minus minus f by a whole square equal to g square plus f square minus ac by h. Okay, now if you compare again this, so whenever into a is there, you can divide it and then use the previous formula that we have, or you want to make a formula, you're getting center for this circle as minus g by a minus f by a. Radius is root over g square plus f square minus ac by a square. Okay, once again, only when this is greater than or equal to 0 only, this will represent a circle. Otherwise, it will not represent a circle. Okay, so we have seen general equation of a circle with center and radius. Okay, so that's why here this point is important. Represent circle if and only if a and b are equal but not 0, h is 0, but g square plus f square minus ac should be greater than or equal to 0. And this is a circle for the center and radius mentioned. Now, the circle with x1, y1 and x2 at ends of diameter. So center and radius, if ends of diameter also given also, we can find a circle. Okay. So if you have a circle where this is a diameter, all of you know any chord passing through center is called diameter. So one end of the diameter is x1 comma y1, other end is x2 comma y2. How to find equation of the circle? Somebody can find the center, midpoint of these two will give you center. Distance between them by 2 will give the radius. So you can take center as x1 plus x2 by 2, y1 plus y2 by 2. Radius is, this is A and this is B. AB distance by 2. Then you know center and radius, you can find the previous method. Or if you take any point P as x comma y on the circle, how to find locus of that? Every time angle APB will be 90 degrees. So somebody can use Pythagoras theorem. Somebody can use this slope into this slope is -1. If you take this slope of PA into slope of PB equal to -1. Slope of PA is y minus y1 by x minus x1. Slope of PB is y minus y2 by x minus x2. And this one that side and add that x minus x1 into x minus x2 plus y minus y1 into y minus y2 equal to 0. Okay, so this is the general equation of a circle where if you know ends of diameter, you can remember this very easy. X minus this x coordinate into x minus this x coordinate, that is this product, plus y minus this y coordinate into y minus this y coordinate, that is this product. S1 is equal to 0. Okay, this is when you know ends of diameter. Use it. Whenever two circles have same center, they are called concentric circles. They have same center. They are called concentric circles. Sometimes they may ask question like this. This circle equation is x square plus y square plus 4x plus 6y minus 12 equal to 0. There is another circle with same center as this. Okay. But let us say passing through 2 comma 1. Okay. Maybe inside, maybe outside. What is the equation of that? There are two ways to do it. One way is what is the center of this? Half of x coordinate of this minus g comma minus f. This is 2g. 2g is 4 means g is 2 minus g means minus 2. Similarly, 2f is minus 6, so f is minus 2. So you know center, you know one point on the new circle. This is a given circle and this is what we have to find. From center to a point, you can find the distance, you'll get a radius. You know center and radius, you can do that. Another way is, if two circles are concentric, the only difference between the circles is only constant. Other things are same. Because center is same, one of them will be x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equal to r1 square. Another one is same thing but r2 square. So when you expand, only constant is different. Okay. Like you remember in straight lines in first year, if a line is 2x plus 3y plus 5 equal to 0, any line parallel to that will be 2x plus 3y plus k equal to 0. Only constant will change. Okay. The same way, if any circle is concentric with this, it will be in the form of x square plus y square plus 4x plus 6y plus k equal to 0. As you change the constant, you'll get a concentric circle. But how to know that constant? Substitute the point on this. For example, you wanted that this new thing should pass in 2 comma 1. Substitute 2 comma 1, you'll get k, put that k back, you'll get it. So, when main point is, when a circle is concentric with another circle, the only difference between the two equations is constant. That can be used in some questions. Okay, that is the second point for concentric circle. Next, this third point, as we have discussed, we are going to learn about a notation. Okay, that notation doesn't have any meaning, but when we say what is that, we are learning that. The purpose of this notation is mainly to remember the formulas easily. Without this notation, there are lengthy formulas. Just by the language of maths, there is a simple way to write them and easily remember them. Okay, so I'll explain what is this notation. What? If I take an equation S as ax square plus 2hxy plus by square plus 2jx plus 2fy plus c. I'm not just talking about circle. I'm talking about circle, parabola, ellipse, hyperbola, any conic section, including pair of straight lines. What is this notation? S1 means substituting point x1 comma y1 in this, but not fully, 50%. 50% means just his way of remembering itself. There's no strict meaning to 50% as such. This x square will write x into x. One x we don't change, the other x we change it to x1. Ax x1. So this x1 is substituted here, but not fully, only half. Whereas 2hxy, you have to write hxy plus hxy. In this, you substitute x as x1. In this, you substitute y as y. By square, you write b into y. 1y as it is, other y becomes y1. 2gx, you write gx plus gx. 1gx as it is, other one is substitute x, x1. 2fy is fy, other fy is substitute y1. So here we wrote it as product and half of it substitute x1. Here also we wrote it as product and half of it substitute x1. Here we wrote it as sum of two things. Then half of that we substitute x1. Here also sum of two things and there's a constant. And then only this 2hxy term is little different. I wrote it as two things, but in one of them I substituted x, in another one I substituted y. Similarly, S2 means substituting 50% x2 comma y. That will be ax x2, h x2y, hxy2, by y2, gx plus gx2 plus fy plus fy2 plus. S12 means within this 50% already substituted 1, in the other 50% substituting 2. So if wherever x is there, you write x2, wherever y is there, you write y2. You get a x2 x1, h x1 y2, h x2 y1 plus b y1 y2, g x2 plus g x1, fy2 plus fy1 plus c. Okay, that is S1. Okay. S11 means substituting x1 y1 completely. Ax1 square plus 2h x1 y1 plus by1 square plus 2gx1 plus 2fy1 plus. Okay. So this is some notation where it will help us to, in the circles we don't need this xy term part, so it is easier. Okay, let us say I have some 2x square plus x square plus y square plus 8x plus 10y minus 3. What is x1 means? You write x1 here, y1. This you have to write 4x plus 4x1, 3y plus 3y1 minus 3. Sorry, 5y plus 5. 50 here. This is S1. Okay. Whereas if it is x square plus y square plus 7x plus 5y minus 4, what is S1 means? X1 is fine for this y1. For this, you have to write 7x by 2, half of it, 7x1 by 2. 5y, you have to write 5y by 2, 5y1 by 2. No. Even number is easy to split. Odd number also you can write whatever number is there by 2 here, by 2 here, by 2. Half of it substitute. So this is a general notation for S1 and similarly S12 and S1. Okay, how this is going to help us to remember some of the formulas easily. We'll see that. Maybe next topic is the position of a point. If somebody gives us a circle equation and they gives us a point coordinates, how to know whether the point is inside the circle or on the circle or outside the circle? That means let us not go for formulas and all, let us try to understand. Obviously, you're going to find the center, you're going to find the radius. From center, you find distance to that point. If that distance is more than radius, it is outside. If it is equal to radius, it is on the circle. If it is less than radius, it is inside the circle. I'll call this as C. And the circle equation is x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c. I'll take this point as x1 comma y1. I want to find what is CP square minus R square. Distance between C and P. What is the center? Minus C comma minus C. So when you find distance, this will become x1 plus z whole square, y1 plus z whole square minus R. When I expand this, you'll get x1 square plus 2gx1 plus y1 square plus 2f y1 plus g square plus r square, and r square is g square plus f square minus c. Finally, it is coming x1 square plus y1 square plus 2gx1 plus 2f y1 plus c. That is actually s11. Okay, so when I find cp square minus r square, it is coming s1. Actually, this cp square minus r square is called power of a point with respect to a circle. Power of a point with respect to a circle definition is from center you find distance to the point, square of that minus square of the radius is called power of the point with respect to circle. That is actually S11. Okay, that is simply substitute the point in the circle equation, but make sure x square y square coefficients are 1 only and nothing else. If you have 5x square plus 5y square, you should divide it with 5 and then only you can use this formula. Now, one is this represents the power. Second thing is if a point is outside the circle, this S11 is positive because CP is more than radius. If a point is on the circle, this and radius are equal, so it will be 0. When a point is inside the circle, this is smaller than this, it will be negative. So the sign of S11, that is substituting the point in the circle, whether you get a positive number or 0 or negative number, it tells you whether the point is on the circle or outside the circle or inside the circle. For a point outside the circle, power is positive. For a point inside the circle, power is negative. For a point is on the circle, power is 0. There is another use of this one more. If I give a circle equation, I give a point outside the circle and ask from this, if you draw tangent, what is the length of the tangent? This is center, this is point P. If we take this point and join, we know this angle is 90. That is at a particular point, the radius through that and the tangent are perpendicular. So if somebody wants this length of tangent, let's say this is A and they want this length, this is R. This is CP, this is R. According to Pythagoras theorem, this length will be root over CP square minus R square. And just now we got CP square minus R square is S11. So root S1. So when a point is outside the circle, you can draw two tangents and both PA and PB will have same length. If you want to know length of tangent from an external point, it's very simple. Substitute that point in the circle equation, keep it under root S1. So you can see S11 is helping us to remember or express a formula in a simpler manner. Once again, in all these places, don't forget x square y square coefficient should be 1. There's one more formula related to this. If I have a circle, I have a point P inside the circle. And through that, there are a lot of chords, but only for a particular chord, it is midpoint. There's a particular chord where this point is midpoint. What is the length of that? So this is C, this is P. When you join this angle is 90. That is itself is a, in 9th or 10th class, there are a lot of properties of circles you might have learnt in pure geometry. Whatever you learnt in pure geometry in 8th, 9th, 10th, they are very useful for us, especially in circles chapter. In past years, advanced questions also, you'll find a lot of questions where you need to know some geometrical properties, okay, not just coordinate geometry way. Okay, anyway, if you take a midpoint of a chord and join to the center, that will be perpendicular to the chord itself. That is one property which you can easily prove it. Now, how to find this length? I'll call this as A, this as B, P is the midpoint, this is R, and this is R. So if I want AB length, that will be 2 times AP length. But what is AP length? This one, this square, which is R square, and this is CP square, which will be 2 root R square minus CP square. So CP square minus R square is S11. So what is R square minus CP square? Minus S1. So when a point P is inside the circle, the length, there is a chord having P as a midpoint. The length of that chord is 2 root minus S1. One may object that root minus S1, root negative is not defined. No, it is defined because when a point is inside the circle, S11 itself is a negative real number. Minus S11 is a positive real number. So root minus S1 is very well defined, not a problem. So in this, I made few points. First, I made point CP square minus R square is called power of a point. If a point is there and a circle is there, distance from center to the point square minus radius square is called power, and that is equal to S1. Second point I made is if power is positive, point is outside. If power is inside, point is inside, power is negative. Point is on the circle, power is 0. Third point I made is if from an external point, if you draw two tangents to a circle, they're equal. Each one of them length is root s1. Fourth point I made just now is if a point is inside the circle, through that there is a particular chord having that point as a midpoint. The length of such chord is 2 root minus s1. Okay, so we are able to express everything related to s1. I hope all of you are able to follow, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Sanjana, you wanted me to revise circles earlier. I hope now you are comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So sometimes when somebody asks me, I'll tell we'll do later. Okay. So that will come after sometimes after a few days or after a few months. Okay. So this is the position of a point and the related things. Next, I think position of a line with respect to circle can be done or something. Just wanted to follow the order. Okay. Different properties of the chord of a circle. I will just read and see here. These are some of the things that we learned in the school level, which may be useful for us. First point on the screen, the line joining the center of a circle and the midpoint of a chord is perpendicular to the chord. Just now we used it somewhere. Foot of center of a circle on a chord is the midpoint of the chord. Relate to the same thing. Chords of equal length of a circle are equidistant from center, and even the converse is also. That is, if two chords are equidistant from the center, they must be of equal length. And if 2 root r square and d square election on the board. Yeah, this is also a nice point. I'll explain that also. Circle causing end by having least radius is the one with the diameter on it. Okay. So I'll explain all these things in the board. Let us say a circle is there and a line is there intersecting at 2 points A and B. Circle equation is given, line equation is given. Somebody wants the midpoint of the chord. How to do it? You don't have to solve the circle and the line and really find this point and then find the midpoint. We know if you join the center to the midpoint M, this angle is 90. So you know center of the circle, you know line. Find foot of the center on that line. In first year, we'll learn this foot formula. H minus x1 by a equal to k minus y1 by b equal to minus of ax1 plus by1 plus c by s square plus b square. Use that formula where x1, y1 is this point and ax plus by plus c equal to 0 is this one. You solve, you'll get h and k, that is the midpoint. Okay, what if they don't want that midpoint, they want AB length? How to find AB length? You know this length is r radius. This is also radius. You know this distance d, how? From a point to a line, you can find perpendicular distance. Mod ax1 plus by1 plus c by root a square plus b square. This distance from point to a line. Use that formula, you'll get this distance. Then this small length is root r square minus b square. This is also root r square minus b square. So you'll get 2 root r square minus b square. So that is the formula for length of the chord. We use this many times. Whenever a circle and a line are there, the length of the chord is 2 root r square minus b square. R is the radius of the circle. D is perpendicular distance from the center to that line. Okay. This is called actually power theorem in circles. In school level, we'll prove some other way. And here we can also prove by coordinate geometry. I want to tell both. If you have a circle, there is a chord and there is a tangent. This is B, this is C, this is A, and this is B. PT square is equal to PA into P. To take any secant through P, it intersects the circle at 2 points. Find this length and this length. That product is always same as length of tangent whole square. How to prove by coordinate geometry, I'll tell later. How to prove by pure geometry way is very simple. You take this point, join here and join this. I want to prove that triangle PTA is similar to triangle PTB. There's a property in circle that school level you might have learned. This is a tangent. To that point, to take a chord. Whatever angle this theta is there, that is same as this theta. Okay. We call alternate segment theorem or something. This theta is same as angle subtended by this chord and the other segment, alternate segment. In the same way, if this is theta, this should be theta. But between tangent and chord, and how much the chord subtends at the other chord, like this, reverse of this figure. This is theta, so this is theta. And this angle is alpha. So you can see triangle PTA is similar to triangle PTB by AA similarity. Both have common angle and two angles are equal. So this is by AA similarity. Okay. Once these two are similar, the corresponding sides here. Okay. Opposite to alpha, what is there? In PTA triangle, I'll take alpha, theta, and other angle 180 minus alpha plus theta. Opposite to alpha, I have 80. Opposite to theta, I have PA. Opposite to 180 minus alpha plus theta, I have theta. Same, if I take the big triangle, opposite to alpha, I have TB. Opposite to theta, I have PT. Opposite to 180 minus theta plus alpha, I have TB. Then this by this should be same as this by this is equal to same as this by this. If I take only this part, PT into PT, PT square is equal to PA into PB. Okay. So that's how we can prove this by using pure geometry. Very simple. Just use similar triangles and we're able to prove PT square equal to PA into PB. Almost same explanation if we have two sequences. I have a circle and there are two parts. This is E, this is A, this is AB, this is C. I can get that. Or they can even intersect outside. E here, A here, B here, C here, D here. Both in this and in this. You join AD. I'm going to take triangle PAD and PCD is similar to triangle PCD. How they're similar? Angles in same segment are equal. So if this is theta, this is also theta. And this is common angle. Okay. Two angles are same. So by AA similarity. So for this and this, alpha is the angle, theta is the angle. Again, if you take alpha, theta, 180 minus alpha plus theta is the three angles. The first triangle of PAD, what is it opposite to alpha? AD. What is opposite to theta? PA. What is opposite to 180 minus alpha plus theta? PD. And here, the big triangle PBC triangle, what is opposite to alpha? BC. What is opposite to theta? BC. What is opposite to 180 minus alpha plus theta? It is PB. This by this is equal to this by this equal to this by this. Now when we equate here, PA into PB equal to PC into PD. PA into PB equal to PC into PD. That is also power theorem. PA into PB is equal to PC into PD. Even same explanation here. If we join these two and these two, everything is same, I guess. Angle ADC is alpha. ADC. This is alpha, so this is alpha. This is theta, so this is theta. I'm sure everything becomes same. Opposite to alpha in triangle PAD is PA. But here AD. That is because I took angle. Okay, so I can take this also. These two are alpha, alpha. This I can take 180 minus theta also. Okay, fine. Doesn't matter. Opposite to AD, I should take alpha. Yeah. Opposite to PA, I should take theta. Yeah. You can take alpha here, nothing wrong. Okay. So here also, what same triangle, PAD and PBC are similar. These two are similar triangles. So you can easily understand what is happening. Okay, this side by this side equal to this side by this side. You can do cross multiplication. Okay. From both figures, same explanation. All of you are able to follow, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So how to prove this by coordinate geometry way? Okay, that we'll discuss tomorrow. All right. So once again, go through the circles